Exalted Entertainment Radio, you have just tuned into the Love Factor. I'm your host, Kiara D, and today we are talking about love and happiness. And in case you missed last week, it's okay, we'll fill you in. But like I said, we're talking about love and happiness going all the way back to the Al Green days. When he used to sing the great old song, Love and Happiness. Yes, we're going there today. So make sure you call and tell somebody we're on the air, and we're in for a great treat today. I need for you all to do me a favor. I want you to go ahead and get some notes because we got some good stuff we're talking about today. And I got my special guest that will be joining me here in a moment, Minister Jones and his lovely wife, Kenyatta. And in case you have not heard, you can go ahead and follow us on Facebook. Exalted Entertainment is a webpage, or you could join our Facebook group, The Love Factor. You can also go to our YouTube page. We have it all, okay? You can follow us on Twitter, Exalted ENT, Kiara D. You can follow me personally, or Kiara Davis. YouTube, we're everywhere. We're in your ear. We're on the Spreaker app. And in case you don't know, you could also join our chat room right here on the Spreaker app, and you could be a part of the conversation today. Talking about love and happiness, we are going to go ahead and get it started the right way. Minister Jones, how you doing today?
I am well. How about yourself, ma'am?
I'm doing good. Hi, Miss Kenyatta. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me today. Okay, so we're picking it up where we was at last week. Last week was so great and so wonderful. We decided we needed to do another part to this, a 2-part series. We're bringing it back again, Love and Happiness Part 2. And so let's get right on into it. Love is such a beautiful thing that so many people don't really grasp the concept of it. And today we just want to educate you and fill you in on what love really is, because love is more than just a feeling. It's more so action. Love is putting in the action for what it is that you want out of life. And so I just want to get your take on what love is from Minister Jones and his lovely wife. Define love in your own words.
I define love as, there's 3 words, right? And it's trust, understanding, and respect. If you get any of those 3 out of order, you tend to lose the core of love. So love definitely is an emotion, but it's an emotion that's built off of something. And again, trust, devotion, and understanding. And when you trust someone implicitly, then you trust them with every aspect of your life. You just don't trust them with, I'll trust you to pay the rent, but I'm not going to trust you with making an insurance payment.
Right.
It's deeper than that. Trust is, I trust that when you leave the house, that I'm not going to have to explain away everything you've done while you're away from the house. That's the trust factor. And the understanding is that as long as we understand that it's you and I, it's not me and you and mama and daddy and brother and sister. Nobody else has a stake in that relationship but the people that are in it. Mm-hmm. So if you have mama or daddy or brother or sister chiming in on your relationship, it's doomed to fail anyway.
Okay, ain't that the truth? So many people get their loved ones involved in their relationship, and then they wonder why their loved ones don't like their partner after so long, because you're painting the ugly picture of your mate all the time. Every time you go to mom and you tell them what's going wrong in your relationship, every time you go to daddy and let them know what she ain't doing right, then eventually that's going to create a wedge in your relationship. Would you agree?
I totally.
Absolutely. I think that love is also sacrifice. If you're not willing to give of time, and if you're not willing to give of yourself, then I would question your motives in the relationship. Love is really about sacrifice. The scripture says that he gave his only begotten son because he loved the world. And so he gave. So if you're not willing to give, then I would question your motives in the relationship.
I totally agree with that. One thing that people need to understand is love is definitely a sacrifice, because so many people make the mistake of thinking that it's just that warm, fuzzy feeling, or that butterflies, but after so long, it wears off. Even studies show that it wears off after 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
And and that's when it becomes work. That's when we gotta really make a decision, a conscious effort that we're going to love our mates regardless. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Kiera, I totally would agree with it. But I tell you one important thing. You have to like each other. Okay? Love comes and goes. Love is an emotion.
It
right?
is.
Today I can love you with every fiber of my being. Tomorrow I can say, I'm mad at you. All right? But I always tell people this. Let's use best friends, for instance. You have a best friend. You guys are arguing. And then you stop talking for a couple of hours. And then something happens and you call them or they call you and say, hey, this is how I feel about this thing. And you're right back where you started from. Your mate or your significant other should always be your best friend. And I know that's hard to comprehend because when a person's your best friend, you don't hold back. You give all that you are to that person. And when you give all that you are to that person, then you say, oh, okay, this is where it should be. And I'll say this. You can tell how much you love a person by how deeply you know they can hurt you.
Wow.
And if the hurt is superficial, like, oh, okay, well, you hurt my feelings, I don't care, I can move on. Then when that occurs, you can say, hey, I really don't feel the way about you that I thought I did. Because love, I'll be transparent here, and hopefully it's a bless someone. When my mom passed, it was the greatest pain emotionally that I had ever felt. It was more than my spirit could bear. It was that deep. Well, that's the kind of love you're supposed to have for your significant other. Love is always, believe it or not, love is always giving. Love is never taking. So the more you give of yourself, the more you're able to require what you demand from love.
I believe that. I totally believe that. But one thing I thought was interesting is the fact that you mentioned that love is a feeling. And I personally believe that it's action because, even the word says, for God so loved the world that he gave. And so it wasn't based off of how he feel, but it was more so him putting the action, making that sacrifice, because I personally believe love is a sacrifice. But why specifically do you believe that it's a feeling?
Well, I tell you what, there's a song, and a lot of the listeners probably won't understand it. Love is really two parts, and I'm glad you brought that up. Love, there's a song that says, show and tell's just a game I play when I want to say I love you. It says, show me and tell me that you feel the same way. Love is truly a verb. And so love is based off of two elements. It's show and tell, right? But the root of love is an emotion, right? It's a feeling, right? Because when you are involved in someone, it's that feeling, and that feeling allows you to show the actions of what you're feeling. And so that's why I said, love is a feeling. The beauty of that is love will take you in all areas of your life. Emotionally, mentally, physically. I know there's probably some of you guys listening to say, ooh, well, I got hurt and I couldn't eat for 3 or 4 days. I think we all have been there. And if you haven't, don't worry, you'll get there at some point. But it's an amazing thing. And love it's a very powerful emotion. And love can literally make you one of the most happiest people on the planet. Or it can hurt you so bad that it'll make you withdraw.
Yes.
And you'll say, I'm not doing this again. And then you find yourself doing it again.
Well, I noticed you said it can make you one of the happiest people on the planet. And that brings me to my next point. We cannot make our mates responsible for our happiness. Absolutely. A lot of people make the mistake of making them responsible for their happiness, but that's a responsibility that only they could account for, that individual. And not only that, they wasn't responsible for your happiness before you met them, so why make them responsible now that you have them in your life? Yeah. And so we got to get past the point of making our mates pay for our happiness, because it's not on them. It's a decision. It's a conscious effort for us to make that decision for ourselves.
Absolutely. I think that it's important, again, to kind of piggyback on what I said on last week, is that it's important for you to know who you are as a person, know what makes you happy on your own. I would suggest any single woman or anyone who is considering marriage for them to take themselves out to eat. Figure out what it is you want. Take yourself to the movies.
Oh, yeah.
Find out what movies you like. Find out what kind of foods it is that you desire to have. Date yourself. Find out what it is that you specifically want. And then as time goes on and and God brings that person across your path, and that person has what you want, and that person has what it is that you want, and physically, or if they're bringing certain things to the tables and attributes that you find attractive, then that's okay. But don't ever depend on anyone to make you happy, because people will always let you down.
Absolutely.
People will let you
Yes,
down. People
yes.
will disappoint you. People will have shortcomings, and they will have fallbacks. And we're human. We're all human. And so it's our responsibility to make ourselves happy first. And then when the person comes along, it becomes the cherry on the cake, not the whole cake.
Okay, isn't that it? And, people get in relationships, and sometimes folks wonder, after so long they've been together or dating, they wonder, when is it okay to say I love you? Or if it's okay for a woman to say it first at all. What do you think?
I don't think it matters who says it first, but let me educate some women so you won't fall into a trap. Okay, and I'm going to talk to a lot of you as if I was speaking to my daughters. Men will always put their heart where their treasure is, meaning that they will always give of themselves long before you ask. If you have to ask a man to do something, then you are already in trouble. Because a man will always respond to the level that he cares. And so what has to happen at this point, you have to look at things and say, okay, how do you really feel about me? Did you pick me up, or did you say meet me at a certain place? See, that's a drawback right there. If a guy says, oh, meet me at the show, pack your bags and run. Because he should care enough of you to say, I'll pick you up. If he says, meet me at a particular restaurant, or if he says to you, oh, let's go half on this because I don't have the money, a man will always find a way. And so many times women sell themselves short. And and women always say, I love you first. Hold that word back. Because when you say that to a man, I love you,
That lets him know he got access.
Yeah,
access granted.
total access.
Exactly.
It's not one of those half things where he says, oh, well, I think. No, when you tell a man, I love you, in his head, he says, game over.
Right. And now he know he can get the goods.
Right. And that's the next thing on the plate. And so that's the dessert. So hold back the words and say of saying I love you. And then ask yourself, am I loving you because I didn't have a father in my life?
Wow.
And I'm replacing you as my father figure or my brother? Or has he said to you, oh, I love you? And you got to be careful when men say that, because what they're really saying is, I love you right now.
Right.
So do you think some guys use that as a tactic to pretty much pull women in or reel them in to get what they want out of the women?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Because remember I gave the quote of the song. Show and tell is just a game I play when I want to say I love you. It says show me and tell me. When a man loves a woman, when he truly loves a woman,
Oh, you taking me back to the song now.
He cares about everything that she cares about. See, a real man, let's say if a woman says, for instance, she didn't finish high school, and she tells a guy, oh, I didn't finish high school, he's going to encourage her to go back. Or let's say she says, oh, I have 2 more years of college. He's going to encourage her to go back.
So real love brings the best out of people,
Always.
in other words, is what you're saying.
Always.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Always. He will support your dreams, your hopes, and your aspirations. And once he starts showing you these things, then you can say, I get it.
Now, because we're talking about love and happiness here, you all don't forget you could join in on the conversation. You go to our chat room, just click the little chat box right on the Spreaker app, and